there. So, all right. Wow, what a day. You been watching the news? Yeah, it's amazing. I got to tell you, I was just, I don't know what I was. What was I? When I heard the Director for National Intelligence. His name is James Clapper. Did you hear about this? You hear what he said today about the Muslim Brotherhood? That it is a secular group. Secular. You know what secular means? Non-religious. Okay, now listen, I'm not the brightest bulb in the pack, but Islam, Muslim, religion, secular means not non-religious or, a non-religious group. And so the Muslim Brotherhood is a secular group. This is the Director of National Intelligence. And then earlier today, Leon Panetta, I think is his name. He's the, what's his title? Anybody know? I'm sorry? Huh? Director of the CIA. Yeah, see? You have to be intelligent to know that he's the director of the Central Intelligence Agency. Anyway, apparently he came out this morning and, stated that it was likely that Mubarak would step down. So all of the, major networks are, they got their cameras there in Tahrir Square, and they're waiting now for Mubarak to, basically resign and step down. And then we had the President of the United States of America, subsequent to the intelligence guys, real intelligent, saying these things, say the following. Basically, here's the gist of it. We need a transition of power to take place now. Now, here's my question. Who are we transitioning into power? The Muslim Brotherhood? Now, unfortunately, our president seems to think that, by the way, this isn't the prophecy update. We will be talking about this on Sunday morning, but it's unfortunate that our president believes that the Muslim Brotherhood really is not a violent group. They are not a very pronounced group, that they only represent at best 20% of the Muslims there in Egypt. Interesting, right after Mubarak came on television and did not resign, then there were Muslim clerics in the wee hours of the morning, Cairo time, which right now it's 7:30 a.m. Cairo time, were there in Tahrir Square preaching sermons, stating the following, that Mubarak is against Islam. He is against the Quran. And so they were turning. You have to understand that Egypt is a Muslim nation. It is a Muslim nation. So you've got Mubarak with a true secular government, and then you have now the Muslims demanding that he step down. Why? Because the Muslim Brotherhood wants to come in and fill the gap. Now, why is this such a big deal? And why do we make, or why are we making such a fuss about it? Well, if you weren't here on Sunday, we looked at Egypt and her role in the prophetic program. We saw the prophecy in Isaiah chapter 19, which is a prophecy specifically concerning Egypt. But, and this Sunday we'll again be talking about the prophetic ramifications of all of this as it unfolds, it seems now, even by the hour. I found it interesting today that when in Israel, they are watching this, as you might imagine, they're watching this with a very keen interest. The reason being is that this administration has turned its back and basically, with the stroke of a pen, disowned an ally. See, for the last 30 years, we have had a good foreign relations with Egypt vis-a-vis Mubarak, who has, because of Anwar Sadat before him, oh, by the way, Anwar Sadat was assassinated by, guess who? A secular organization called the Muslim Brotherhood. Nasser, before him, was sort of, well, not sort of, he was so careful with the Muslim Brotherhood that he would have them either imprisoned or killed because he recognized the threat to Egypt should they ever come into any power or any control. So then it was Anwar Sadat who comes in, sort of loosens the reins a little bit on them, and it was because of that that he was assassinated by them. It kind of reminds me of Saul. He was to eliminate all of the Amalekites, and in the end, he was killed by an Amalekite, a picture in typology in the scriptures of the flesh. So you have to understand that Al-Qaeda and Hamas and Hezbollah and all of these terrorist organizations have their roots in the soil of the Muslim Brotherhood, whom, by the way, have been around for a very, very long time. This is not something new. They didn't just kind of come out of, nowhere. They have been, I believe, by design for many years now, planning this in Egypt. And now here's what happens. If I'm Israel, I'm watching this, and I am seeing how that the Obama administration has now basically severed any kind of, anything with an ally, and what would keep now the United States of America from doing that with Israel. So they really see the handwriting on the wall. And by the way, that does really play perfectly into the prophetic program, because in the end, no nation is standing with Israel. She is all alone, surrounded by all of these enemy nations, some of whom are listed there in Psalm 83. By the way, Egypt mentioned there in Psalm 83, not by the name Egypt, but by the name of the Hagrites. Who are the Hagrites? The Hagrites are the descendants of Hagar. Hagrites, you see. So these are the Egyptians, the descendants of the Hagrites. Now, what I find really interesting, and I think this may be, unless the Lord shows me otherwise, in part what we'll look at Sunday morning for our prophecy update, because it's really interesting that this is starting to not only look like Isaiah 19, but Psalm 83, in that those nations that are listed there that say, come, let us destroy them as a nation so that the name of Israel is remembered no more. In other words, let's wipe her off the map. You have also listed there the Moabites and these other Arab people, all of whom are there close in proximity to Israel. So you have Israel, you have Egypt bordering Israel, you have Jordan on the other side bordering Israel, and you have Lebanon, of course, on the border of North Israel. Now, Lebanon is already done. I mean, they have already succeeded now in taking over and collapsing that government. Do you see a pattern here? Is it just me, or do you see a pattern here with this Islamic attack now on Israel, and how that they are seeking to collapse all of these governments Tunisia, and now we're hearing Libya. And now the concern is this proverbial dominoes effect, where if Egypt goes, so too do these other nations go. And they start listing these nations, and when you cross-reference those nations with the lists that we have in the prophecies in the Bible, they're the same people. They're the Hagrites, they're the Moabites, the Edomites, the flashlights, the termites, all of those guys, and they're all listed there. So it does start looking like that, and it'll be interesting to watch. Now, I tried to, before I came here tonight, knowing that it's, early morning there and it's Friday prayers for Islam there in Egypt. And so I kind of had to peel myself away from the television screen because the Lord reminded me that I'm a pastor and I have a Bible study to teach tonight. So, but it was really interesting, and I'm looking forward to when I go home tonight to see what is going to happen today. They're saying that the next 48 hours are going to be very crucial, and I believe that they will be very crucial indeed. Well, be that as it may, we're watching Egypt, and we're watching the Middle East, and we're seeing how that it does fulfill what the Bible said would take place in the last days. And if you're ready for the Lord, it's very exciting. If you're not right with the Lord, then it's very terrifying. So if you're here tonight, I will say this, and I always say this. If this creates fear in your heart, then I want to encourage you to revisit your relationship with the Lord. It may be that maybe you are right with the Lord, you are walking with the Lord, but maybe there's some unfinished business between you and the Lord. Maybe you haven't been living for the Lord, and so you're not watching for the Lord and his soon return. I see these things begin to take place, and I really do believe that we will see the rapture of the church of Jesus Christ very soon. And I mean very soon. And by the way, we're going to be talking about that tonight because we're going to be in Numbers chapter 28 and 29.